generalize. Because no, generalization means what I've done. No, that's your personal. Because if anything I've heard from you, Mr. Mawere, Koma Masimba, is that it's I. Don't talk for other people. You, your personal experience.
Yeah. So why can't you just talk about your own? Why do you need to compound thought?
Yes, I've dated so many Zimbabwe men. I've seen so many Zimbabwe men. This is what they do. This is what they do. Ndikapa example. Listen. Unofarira bhora here. What do you mean ndofarira bhora? Listen, ndofarira kubhora. Ndosupporta team inozi Arsenal. And imagine only one player every single time Paulo join a team yoyo. You always have a problem with other 10 different players. As I also speak at part time, you need to question yourself. Maybe the problem is not the players or the team. Maybe it's me.
That's right.
Yeah. You're condescending. After metaphysics.
Hello. Hey, I think reception here, Kwangwis.
Okay. Because I was getting worried now with the phone angle.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's your side. It must be my. But can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Moving forward, what should I do?
No, I'm saying it's so much your plan. From what you've listened to so far, is there anything that has made you to apply your mind as to what are the gaps that are required, even from yesterday's show? What lessons have you learned?
Well, I've learned quite a few lessons, and one of the things that shoots out on top of my head is that there is something called cognitive resistance. There is a resistance of kuziva something that you do not know. Because I think most people aren't willing to be humble and to be receptive or something they do not know. Nekuti, we've been so indoctrinated and conditioned. If new information comes to you, they develop a resistance. And case in point, my sister, when I was telling her, she, no, listen, simply because you've spoken to 9 or 10 guys in Zimbabwe, we've got 15 million people. 10 million are in Zimbabwe, 5 million are in diaspora. So are you going to say you speak of the 5 million in diaspora, or do you speak for the 10 million in Zimbabwe? So who are you talking for? So I think...
but when you say most people, aren't you falling in the same trap?
What do you mean, sir?
Because your starting point was that most people, they got a problem of compounding, generalizing.
Yeah.
And but you have just said the same thing.
Well, I'm talking from observation.
But your observation is not representative. So if you have rejected the idea of one person or one mind compounding thought, then when I ask you about your reflections, that is you. And or you can say from my side, I think there is a problem in me and you compounding. That is so easy to think that what I know or what I'm angry at, everyone else should be angry at.
Right.
So if that is a problem, then how do we use this community to change that kind of thinking and acting so that I become conscious? If you ask me yesterday, you were there, not many people were there. So from that only, you are just giving an account of your observation that, look, I came into the show by default because I was not part of the plan. So I come in, already I come into a firestorm based on what other people had shared as comments. And those people were sharing what they thought of this lady. And you are coming in and I ask you a question to say from what you have followed, and you come back and say you didn't follow. Actually, you just come into the conversation, and you wanted a summary of what it is so that somebody else, so that you can then comment and give your input.
Absolutely.
But before you could get in there, you were caught up in a storm of male chauvinism that was outside your knowledge and concern. So how many of us get sucked into conversations that go on, and we lose track of the wagon that I have to carry? Because when I come to something, I want to improve myself. If it's knowledge, then I may want to know better. Like we were talking about the issue of economic freedom. What is economic freedom? And that whole discussion was now caught up in this male chauvinism informed by experiences, not of yesterday, but past experiences that you and I may not want to know about, or wish to be subjected to. So that's what I was saying to Mkwama. But if you're doing something, just focus on what you're doing. Let's say we wanted to learn about this economic freedom. What is it and what it is not? Then we can have an Oxford discussion where you articulate what comes to mind when you talk of freedom, and what kind of things come when you talk of economic What is economic? What is economics? And when we say economic freedom, what do we mean? And what does Malema mean, who has set up a party around that idea that the deficit of economic freedom is, yeah.
Right. Okay. So in a nutshell, Mr. Mawere, what you're probably trying to say, people need clarity before they comment on anything. Is that right?
That no, not people. I'm not saying people. You and I. If you believe there's need for clarity, then we will schedule a show with Mason, where you are now interviewing to say, I want to go deeper on economic freedom. If it's an area that interests you.
Right.
And that was the subject that was derailed yesterday.
Like you probably said, because in me, I just catch up with it was almost at the end of your conversation.
That's right.
Even I think the sister is called
Kudakwashe.
I can't remember her name. Kudakwashe, yes. And she said, you know what, Mason, if I'm going to give you a summary, it's going to take me a long time. Mr. Mawere can summarize for you. But unfortunately,
yeah, but you know what question I raised it? It was in the question you asked, what do you want me to do? So I gave you a scenario before she could ask me anything. And I gave you an example of this rich guy who was one of the most powerful men of his time. And a young man came to him and asked for money to start his own project. And the man said, I don't do money. But now that I understand you, then it becomes easier for me to talk to you. And so I will do more than money, this guy said. And hello?
Yeah, Mr. Mawere. Yes.
Yeah, he said I will do more than money. And for you, so he asked him to come to the stock exchange the next day, to the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay.
Yeah. And just hold on, let me just give me a second.